You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the Black and Gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steeler Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on a Tuesday where we have got plenty to get to. We're going to catch up with Chris Adamsky. We've got all the latest from Mike Tomlin's latest press conference.
Oh, yeah.
Little fantasy football focus, power rankings, all that good Tuesday stuff. Matthew here as we get closer to the month of October and the road, man, you look at it across the NFL now. We are at the road narrowing portion of the season.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The good teams are separating a little bit.
Yeah.
The bad teams have continued to fall down, and there is kind of a clear middle class now of teams that are, looking to keep their head above water and stay in it.
Yeah, and I think we've seen for a while now, or earlier than most NFL seasons, who the Junko teams are. I mean, who the crappy teams are. I mean, they've been pretty apparent, and I don't think I've changed my opinion on any of them. Like, boy, they're coming back. No. And I didn't put, like, Houston in that category. I never thought they were Jets, Titans, Raiders. But this past weekend, I think there were 6 games won by 20 or more points.
A lot.
Something along those lines.
Sounds
close,
right.
at least.
Miami would have been one. Buffalo would have been one.
Yeah. And Miami doesn't qualify. Good for them for the win. But I think some of the teams, including the Chiefs last night, said, okay, now we're a the tier 1 teams are starting to show up
Bay
more
was
and
another
more.
one.
Yeah, exactly. And we're, 1 week away from the trade deadline. Today, we might hear something
great
at this
point,
on that day. So there's the haves and have-nots are becoming more and more clear. Now, there are the Steelers people in the middle, and some of them will go one direction or the other. And now it's pivotal time. The road's narrowing for those teams.
The road is certainly narrowing for those teams, and this is getting close to crunch time here as we're staring down Halloween on Friday. And that's kind of the first of the holiday season here, and the road will get more narrow and narrow as we get to Thanksgiving and Christmas and on down the line, certainly. Let's give kind of maybe the final Packers-Steelers dedicated segment of the week. We'll continue to reference the game and talk about it, obviously, but
sure.
The way that we kind of finish directly talking about it and really, dedicated segments to it every single week is, of course, with our Tuesday Rewind. And Matt, let's start. We did the good old-fashioned radio tease thing yesterday when we said, let's talk a little bit more about safety. Let's talk a little bit more about Jalen Ramsey. Matt, what do you do at safety now if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers? Sounds like it might not be season-ending for Deshaun Elliott. That is one thing.
Okay.
We'll talk about this a little bit more with Chris Adamsky next, but still up in the air if they're going to put him on IR or not. So that at least makes it sound a little more optimistic than just he's going to miss a ton of time. If they're contemplating putting him on IR or not, it's a hyperextended knee for Deshaun Elliott.
That's actually good.
That's better news than we anticipated. Yeah.
So I think I've mentioned this on a Tuesday before, but my Tuesdays are weird, and I don't get to – I'm not privileged to Mike Tomlin's press conference until we get in here and we talk about it live, which works for me because then I'm like, oh, that's good news. I just kind of react organically. You're right, right. I assumed, and I've just been operating since the game ended, that Elliott's season was over. So anything's great. I mean, if you're going to avoid IR, this is way better than I expected. Huge. I mean, that's wonderful news. But in the meantime, we know he's not playing soon.
Yes.
I don't have this answer yet, and it's something I'm excited to talk to Chris the next 2 days too. People that are down there. I'm going to be at the building on Thursday. I want to know more about Peppers. Why isn't he getting more? I think he was at 12 or 13 snaps this week. I've kind of seen enough of Clark, but he's playing a lot. A lot of snaps. And I think they must trust him more than Peppers. Killebrew's obviously not in the mix. I think Ramsey's a possibility. I think a safety from outside the organization is a possibility. Thornhill's been all over the place, too. I mean, for this defensive situation, he's been more of the problem than the solution, too. And actually, all these guys have been. I mean,
except
Peppers, I can't
blame.
blame.
Except for Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't blame Peppers, but there's a job there to grab. Why haven't you? You know that. So I don't know. I think we need to talk through it this week.
We do, and let's get into some of that now.
Yeah.
According to Mike Tomlin, the Steelers are working out Von Bell and Eddie Jackson today.
Okay.
He said if we sign them, you'll hear about it. But the biggest question to me, I think, is what to do until we know
Both
that
safeties,
for sure.
by the way, folks.
Both safeties,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Should have mentioned
I
that.
knew that. I'm not sure everybody knew.
Both veteran
that, yeah.
safeties.
Yeah, they've had decent careers. Not exactly. They're kind of scrappy guys.
There's
at
a
this
reason
point,
why
but
they're still available in late October. I think the real X factor in this is Jalen Ramsey, and what would you do with him? Would you continue to move him around, use him at nickel, put him out in the boundary, or would you just say, hey, almost, Matt, I think there's some parallels, and you and I also hit on this yesterday. It becomes more difficult now because your bye week is behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Your 10-day extra stretch after Thursday Night Football is behind you.
Yeah. Now things are going to start happening quick.
But, I keep remembering what the Ravens did last year, and they went to Kyle Hamilton after the bye week, and they asked him to just be that center fielder and stabilize the secondary.
And like Hamilton, Ramsey knows how to do that. It's not an old dog, new trick.
Exactly.
We're not asking you to play left tackle.
And so they don't have the luxury like Baltimore did of we've got an extra week here to really talk about this, study this, install this, change your role. But Jalen Ramsey's also more of a veteran at this stage in his career than Hamilton was last year. Hamilton's still a guy on his rookie deal at that time, or maybe he had just gotten the extension, whatever, just a couple years in the league at that time. Would you consider moving Jalen Ramsey back there, if even full-time, majority of the time, to stabilize some things?
Yeah, I would consider it. I'm not saying, again, that's my answer, because so there's two wild cards to me currently in the secondary. Peppers, I mentioned. I mean, I still am holding out hope that he was a nice signing and can get back to where we saw him recently and be an impact player and an every down type guy. But Trice's window's also, I think, ready to be open or is on the horizon. I need to double check that too. But I think Trice could get back in the mix. And why I bring that up is if you were to move Ramsey to center field, basically your corner situation's pretty obvious. It's Slay on one side, Porter on the other, Eccles in the middle.
Yep.
Which is okay, but I'm souring on Slay. I at least want some other outside option or...
You'd probably rather have Eccles outside, but then what do you do at nickel?
Right, exactly.
Back to Beanie Bishop, who hasn't played a snap all year. I mean, he's been on the practice squad.
Yeah, I'm not even going to call him a wild card, but at least I'm happy he's here all of a sudden.
Sure,
that's the way the league works. I mean, you're one injury away from calling him up too. But maybe Trice could compete with Slay on the outside. But you get worse everywhere. I mean, no, I'm not. I guess you're not worse at free safety. I think Ramsey at free safety is better than Thornhill at free safety.
Agreed.
But you're definitely worse in the slot, the run defense, all the Ramsey stuff near the line of scrimmage, which is why you got him in the first place. He's still really good at that stuff. And I've been asked a lot this week, the Steelers miss Minkah Fitzpatrick. And frankly, I think Minkah might get traded.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's coming back.
I don't think he's coming back
implying,
here,
but
yeah.
Right. And I'm like, yes. I'm not implying that it was a bad trade, but he'd be really useful right now.
No doubt.
I mean, I always equated him to like a great hockey goalie because your defenseman can like be more Earl Thomas. Those 10 guys in front of him used to be way more aggressive because I got a good goalie behind me.
I'll make the save.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Grant Fuhrer with Paul Coffey, those type of things.
Like having a good rim protector in basketball, right?
Yeah,
the 7'3" guy.
Last layer of defense. I just trust that dude.
Yep. Good rim protector in the paint.
So I do think Ramsey could be that guy, though. I mean, if you just kind of parked him in the deep middle a lot, I think you'd feel more confident about the other 10 being aggressive than if it's Thornhill. And again, I'm just talking about all this stuff out loud. I don't have this answer yet.
No,
it's a mess.
I don't think anybody does.
Right.
Maybe even down in those four walls on the south side, they tell you the same thing.
And maybe the answer to the question is Elliott not in the picture. Who are your 5 best defensive backs?
Oh, this is a good way to frame it.
You know what I mean? And we'll figure out the puzzle pieces later. But what 5 do you want on the field?
Joey Porter Jr.
And
Eccles,
Ramsey or yes
Ramsey.
and yes. I think that's those 3.
Those 3 for sure. And then
then it's
at this stage, I think you still have to put Slay, which doesn't speak great to their depth, but I think you would still have to.
And Thornhill or Clark, or you maybe you hope it's Peppers.
But yeah,
You know what I mean?
And
in that instance,
it quickly has
Ramsey's probably
changed.
Ramsey's a safety.
Whereas we felt like,
and I'm not sold that Slay's one of them.
I'm not either.
You know what I mean?
And going into this season and even the first couple weeks, we were singing the complete opposite tune. Feels like you got an extra body in that group.
Exactly.
Well, now some guys aren't performing quite up to snuff, and you get another injury to Deshaun Elliott, and it feels like you're one short in that group.
Right. And I love Elliott. He's a really good player. He's been a nice signing. But his absence shouldn't hurt you this bad.
It should not tip the scales the way that it. I completely agree with. That's a good way to frame that.
Because we saw without him already,
and
it was bad. And then as soon as he goes out of the game, it's bad. Like, he's not Polamalu. I mean, he's a good player, but he's not the best safety that's ever lived.
Absolutely right.
Right.
Absolutely
it shouldn't tip the scales that much.
No, it's not at times where there was that, like, the Steelers were 1-10 without T.J. Watt. That stat a couple of years ago.
Right. Yeah.
His value has certainly been on display this season. But man, it should not tip the scales that much.
It shouldn't be that detrimental to everyone else.
I am completely with you on that one. Matt, a few more Tuesday Rewind things, Tuesday Rewatch that I want to run past you here. I want to talk a little bit about the Steelers wide receivers, namely DK Metcalf and Robin Wilson, but I don't want to shortchange that conversation. We only got a couple minutes here.
Yeah.
So what about we catch up with our buddy Chris Adamsky,
Great.
Get some more on Elliott and some of these injuries and guys that the team are working out, and then we'll get back into some rewind observations to close down the first hour of the show. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, off and running here. It's The Drive on a Tuesday afternoon on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here on a Tuesday, and you know what time it is. It's time to catch up with our buddy Chris Adamsky, of course, covers the Steelers for the Trib. He is the co-host along with Tom Opferman of the Steelers Blitz here on the Steelers Audio Network as well. Buzz, thank you for taking the time as always. Let's jump right into it. And at a time where maybe this fan base could use some good news, it sounds like it might not be as bad as we all thought for Deshaun Elliott. What are you hearing on his status?
Yeah, I assumed, or maybe afterward, and it's a late night there and everything, and what's going on, and I think the way first off, the injury just looked kind of gruesome, and just watching it, everybody saw on TV and everything, and then you sort of see in the way he went off in pain, and they kind of quickly announced him out. That's never a good sign when they don't give him a little questionable to start with or anything. It's somebody saw something pretty bad from the beginning there, and then afterward, I think Mike Tomlin, when he lumped it in sort of with the Aquale injury, saying we have a couple of, I don't know, what do you say, significant injuries. So I think that sort of made everybody on this path of assumption that it was, the worst as well. Of course, Aquale is an ACL, so that's kind of operating under that assumption for a while there. And yes, that's not it. And it is kind of crazy how this is a guy who was, 4 teams and kind of was a journeyman and got here. And I don't want to say an afterthought, but, he's kind of signed to be, maybe at the time, people thought maybe the third safety or something in the defense. And he's become kind of, in some ways, in this defense, it's so many big names, so many former All-Pros and Hall of Famers, guys and things like that. And in some way, he's kind of the soul of the defense. He's kind of the, the glue and the sort of I don't want to say emotional, but there's a lot to him here, right? He helps in run defense, helps in pass defense. He's become a pretty important part of what the Steelers do, and you missed him for a couple games there early in the season. It's going to be obviously a handful more games here or so coming on forward.
Chris, what do you know about Jabril Peppers? It shocks me that he's not more involved at this time, this deep into his Steelers tenure. Frankly, I think he's a better player than Clark, but I haven't seen enough of him to really make that assessment in 2025. But he's only playing 12, 13 snaps, and are they going to count on him to step up, or is he out of favor, or don't they trust him, or do you have any feeling on that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I thought, what game was it? Was it Clark? Was it the Cleveland game, I believe, at the top of my head, that Clark was scratched. So I thought that was sort of the line of demarcation there where they, I don't say pass the torch. We're talking, third safety or whatever you want to say, but that's sort of where that was going to be kind of going forward, and then it went back kind of the other way, and Clark was pretty tough on himself. I mean, after one of those Tucker Kraft touchdowns, and can't keep all them straight what happened the other night with Tucker Kraft, but in terms of getting beat on the touchdowns over the middle there, and so I would think, although well, I guess it's kind of the flavor of the week, right? Is it what concerns you more, the run defense or the pass defense? And right now we're back to worrying more about the pass defense, and I don't know if either one of those guys are really your answer in that area, to be totally honest about it. But yeah, and in terms of, I would have thought by now when they signed him and the way he sort of trended up the first couple of weeks there, that Peppers would be more of a more part of the game plan. And now that you have a full week to prepare, knowing Elliott's not there and everything, and Peppers has now been with the organization for 6 or 7 weeks, that maybe now is the time to, deploy him a little bit more.
Well, sticking with kind of that same conversation here, Chris, would you consider moving Jalen Ramsey back to safety more often? Matt brought this up, like you brought him in here for everything that he can do close to the line of scrimmage and his versatility, but at the same time, you need some stability now. It feels like in a major way in that secondary. Is that something that's been discussed at all? Do you think we could see Jalen Ramsey kind of playing that free role and his just athleticism and acumen and knowledge and again, trying to stabilize everything they're doing there on the back end?
I could definitely see that, but it's the problem or the question, I guess, would be then if you take them out of the, however you want to define it, the 3 cornerback rotate in the slot and the 2 outside, you take them out of that, right now there's obvious, I think, I don't want to speak for you guys, people watching and the Steelers themselves have told us, there's questions now where the confidence in Darius Slay, right? So if you need to play Eccles more on the outside, or you're choosing to play Eccles more on the outside, then who plays in the inside, right? I don't know what. I mean, Trice isn't coming back this week, that's for sure. And if he did, I don't know if he is the answer. If that's longer term, if he does, that's an option, I suppose. I don't know, but yeah, I guess that's the easiest question: is if Eccles is not available to play the nickel per se, or every down. And I think even when you're asking, you're not saying put him back there every single snap, right? I think there's always going to be some degree, as there should be with Jalen Ramsey, of kind of deployed at different places. But maybe since we
were thinking predominantly.
Yeah, exactly. So you could probably get away with it, but obviously nothing's in a vacuum, and quite honestly, there's no real perfect great answers right now. And I guess that would be my counter to it, or my devil's advocate to it, is, well, if you take them, away from that or away from that role, then who kind of backfills on the other side of it?
Yeah, and we started talking through it in the first segment, and I think we're going to talk through it all week too. And we mentioned Beanie Bishop is still on the roster, and he could play slot for you. You mentioned Trice. I don't know how far away he is, but he'd be an outside guy, and Eccles could be your slot. Is Trice better than Slay at this point? I don't know. Then when is he back, and when do you trust him? And kind of it's not a conclusion yet, because I enjoy talking through these things, but if you had to put your 5 best defensive backs on the field, who are those 5? I think it's Ramsey, Porter, and then you start asking, and Eccles, and then you start asking questions.
Yeah, they have and the thing is, I guess there's a reason why, to a point, and this doesn't mean they're totally not useful or anything, or not NFL players still, but the reason why Chuck Clark was there on the second week of August, second week of training camp,
right?
There's a reason why Peppers was available. Some reason why, although you could just say something to it, with that turnover and all that with the Patriots. But the
same with Bell and
Jackson
that are in today,
Yeah. So
right.
there's a reason they have all these guys who have good That's kind of like the Steelers defense on whole, and this is getting a little bit off, but it's just, I feel like all these guys have track records. Now you could say some of them are I guess there's legitimate concern, guys of 30 age 30 and older, that maybe they're never going to be the same player again. And I get that, but I don't think on whole, the group wouldn't have a precipitous fall. However, I guess they go back, they have all these bodies in the secondary, and even guys on IR, the guy on a practice squad you just mentioned. I can't even forget about Beanie Bishop myself. You have all these bodies, and it's like you'd think you'd be okay. You think it's a strength. Like, oh, look at this. Peppers is our 4th safety right now, or however you want to term it. Corey Trice is our 4th cornerback, and we have all this almost embarrassment of riches here, what we do, but now but all of a sudden it's like, well, then one or two guys goes down, and it's pretty much been every game there's been one or two guys down, right? We're going from week one when Porter went down, Elliott was down previously for a while, and you kind of wonder then where you're at with these guys. And I don't know. Bishop was actually an excellent point. For some reason, I hadn't really even considered that yet. Kind of out of sight, out of mind. You know, I know he's there in the locker room on the practice field, but
we at least know what he is.
Well
I mean, no one's saying he's Rod Woodson, but you know.
yeah, exactly. But he was okay. I mean, I guess in some ways he fits with the Steelers. I mean, he makes splash plays essentially, and in small bits. He's that type of player, I guess. So in some ways he would fit in with what they could do, I guess. And for being an undrafted rookie, he was pretty good last year. But I guess that's context to say for being an undrafted rookie.
Right. They wanted to upgrade over him. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They clearly wanted to do that, and they clearly, didn't even put him on the 53 to start the season. So.
Hey, don't you forget about Beanie Adamski, all right? Nobody puts the Mountaineers in the corner, all right? It is Chris Adamsky here with us on the drive. Kind of flipping to the other side, spinning the block to the other side of the ball. How are we feeling about the wide receiver position now, and particularly with the emergence of Roman Wilson? This is, has seemingly been something that it feels like we talk about a lot. Particularly when Calvin Austin went down, this wide receiver conversation was back at the forefront, working out free agents, going and trading for somebody. But with what we've seen from Roman Wilson the last couple weeks, are you about as confident in that position group as we've seen to this point, Buzz?
I'm certainly as confident as I've been in Roman Wilson as I've seen. I was kind of more, of the camp that it was probably more likely that he never was going to, be a significant part of the offense for the Steelers ever than it was to say he was going to be however you want to term it, starter or one of the top three receivers. And so you're getting the opportunity these past couple of weeks, and he obviously has. I mean, it goes a long way with the state of the offense right now. If you have the ear or the eyes of number 8, I think that goes a long way in terms of what you can accomplish. And I do think Rodgers likes Roman Wilson or has some, affinity toward him and believes in him to a point. We saw that. And they are what they are. He made the biggest play in terms of yardage for the Steelers in that game. He also had a touchdown in that game. So he finally, that was the most he's played, the most obviously he's been part of the offense. And let's face it, especially whenever Calvin Austin was out, we saw with the lack of production up and down, the lack of even targets, lack of catches, let alone touchdowns or big plays from the rest of the wide receiver corps. So there's a vacuum there. And Roman Wilson was a relatively high draft pick, and whatever's gone on in the past with him and injury and everything else, somebody's got to be there. And you have a trade deadline here coming up pretty soon. Another way you can do it, but it was certainly comforting to see. I know a lot of people have been waiting for Roman Wilson and to see that there is something there, right? I mean, that wasn't a preseason game, that wasn't a practice, that was a real life football game against a good team, and he made a couple big plays. That shows it's in there, and that shows there is a future. He can be part of the offense.
Yeah, he had 4 catches and 5 targets going into that game, and he had 4 catches and 5 targets in that game. So I mean that's doubled his production. We'll take that. I mean, I think he's at least trending the right direction. Last thing I really have for you, it's another puzzle. To me, it's not quite as confounding as the secondary at the moment, but I would hate for a Siamalu injury to derail the 6-0 line package. And obviously, Anderson's a very capable left guard replacement. Is there another O lineman you would make the new 6th guy? Or is there a guard you'd put at left guard and make Anderson the 6th guy for 15, 20 snaps a game? Or do we fear that that's shot?
Well, I did a little bit digging yesterday on the jumbo tight end. And Calvin Anderson has said he although the PFF data doesn't reflect it, so I don't know what he means. I don't know what he said. I did it a lot. We said it always says 1 snap in the thing. He's only on 1 route, but he claims he has I don't know if extensive, I don't know, dozens of snaps at the NFL level as the jumbo tight end. He's able to do it and capable of doing it, and he's repped at it some. I would imagine he's the most likely candidate. I mean, the other. I guess it was on the table that we talked a little bit about that Pete maybe even start, I guess, over Spencer Anderson. But I think they really like Spencer Anderson. Mm-hmm. I think organizational. I know they're not making a decision for this reason, but I think that it's important maybe to, if Sayamalo is out just for a couple of weeks, get Spencer Anderson starting, a couple starts in here. You have a decision to make. You could probably sign him next in March to like a Nate Herbig type deal where he's getting between starter and backup money, and then be your starter at left guard next year, or going forward the next couple of years.
I bet that's the plan no matter what,
Yeah,
and maybe you draft a guard in the third round and they compete or whatever, have some depth.
Yeah, so if that's the case and they see him as that, then it gives you just the obvious guy to start at left guard, and you kind of, I don't want to say jumbo package be Dan, but obviously it's more important to have the better starting left guard, or your best option there. And Calvin said he's repped it some during practices here, but I imagine if Spencer Anderson is starting, then Calvin this week would be. And the other I don't think Pete would necessarily be that guy. And McCollum, I would think just for the sake of, it's a long shot he gets hurt, but if you're down, that's your emergency center. It's kind of like
coaches hate doing that
in baseball.
Yep. Yeah, coaches really hate doing that. Yeah. They don't sleep well at night.
So I would imagine that the Calvin's the natural choice. I didn't get that, coach or anything, but Calvin said he's done it and he's comfortable doing it, and he's done it for the Steelers and, occasionally in practice. So I'd imagine it's full systems go still for the jumbo. Now, whether it gets a target or not, I don't know. It gets a catch.
I'm not counting on him leading the league in receptions or anything. Yeah.
No.
Chris, last one I've got for you, and this is, something that this is what Matt and I like, chatting with you real reporter types that are in the locker rooms, every day and around those guys. Just a 30,000-foot view, your thoughts on the temperature of the locker room. Like some pretty, you used the word damning there just a minute ago. Cam Hayward talking about there's not enough fight on our side. If we feel sorry for ourselves, it's going to avalanche. Some very, direct and poignant quotes. What's kind of the temperature? What's kind of the gauge in that locker room right now? Are they down on themselves? Is it just a one-off? Do they seem like they have the fight to turn this thing around? What just kind of...
Are they angry?
Are they angry? Are they frustrated? Are they dejected and jaded? What's kind of, again, the temperature in that locker room, of course, Sunday night and what you saw yesterday as well?
Yeah, I'll be, without question, it makes just common human sense that after a game versus having, 24 hours, in that case, I guess 12 or 14 hours to digest it, you're going to be a little more raw emotion after a game. So, but even within that context and recognizing that's going to happen after post games, wins or losses, the emotions will be higher, the initial reaction will be different. It was a stark difference because I thought Sunday night they were pretty. Let's face it, the defense was embarrassed. The 2 games in a row, right? Especially the 7 quarters. Some of the stats, if you break it down by quarter, which you don't, but the last 7 quarters, it was almost 800 yards of offense they've allowed, because that first quarter against Cincinnati, they were so good and the Bengals didn't do anything. And then the last 3 quarters of that game and the fourth and the whole game, of course, against Green Bay was bad, and just the touchdowns and I broke it. It was 18 possessions, only been 4 punts. There's been all the rest have either been touchdowns or field goal attempts. I know they missed some field goals. The Packers did, so it's been pretty bad since the start of the second quarter a week and a half ago in Cincinnati. So they were.
Chris, I think they're going on 10.
There.
I think they're going on 10 quarters without creating a turnover too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's like the second quarter of the Browns game. It's been a while. Yeah.
There's only been 1 sack the past 7 quarters, even. Things like that. No. Now the Browns obviously was a different story going back to that game, but but I will say then yesterday. On Monday, the day after the game, the practice, or not the practice, but the open locker room, I didn't get that vibe at all. It was more, we'll be okay. The secondary, as much as I just referenced earlier how there's so many new faces this year and almost a total makeover aside from, Joey and Sean Elliott, they've only been there 2 and 3 years respectively themselves. That's a pretty confident, that's a prideful group, a confident group, a group that's accomplished a lot. If you go, Chuck Clark's been part of some good defenses. Thornhill's just a guy who's, kind of a gregarious guy as it is and a confident guy as it is. And, Slay's done a, borderline, go get some Hall of Fame votes, probably won't make it, but, that type of guy. So the secondary, you see them kind of congregate a lot as a group, a lot of those safeties and corners and everything. And they were at that, and it was a lot more upbeat on yesterday than I thought it would be. Again, this is only 14 hours or so, or 12 hours, whatever it was, 13 hours after we'd been in the locker room at Acrisure to see them on the south side. And so if you would ask me this, yesterday morning or Monday morning or whatever, I would have been like, I don't know. This team seems like it feels like it's, cracking maybe the foundation in terms of their confidence. And I don't say turn on each other, but they definitely were, they're questioning kind of where they're at. And, but they sort of redeemed themselves this past week. Now, they better do a lot of redeeming with the challenge they got coming up this week with the number one offense in the league, though. So, for what it's worth, they could turn a lot of things around. But the Colts have been doing it pretty much everybody. Giving up 370, 400 yards against them is pretty much just an average game for them at this point.
Yeah, Buzz, tell your Penn State buddy Tyler Warren to take it easy on us on Sunday, all right? Can you do that for us?
All right. Well, maybe the Steelers can have the more productive tight end on the field come Sunday. We'll see if that can the more productive Penn State tight end.
There you go. There you go. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. Chris Adamsky, kind enough to join us here on a Tuesday. Buzz, thank you for the time. Make sure you're checking out all of his work in the Trib and listening to him and Tom on the Blitz every day. Take care, buddy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you guys later. Take care.
There he goes. Chris Adamsky. Mars High School, Penn State Nittany Lion. Keep a lid on Tyler Warren for us, all right, Buzz? Come on.
Yeah.
Matt, we got to get back into our final kind of a Tuesday Rewind observations when we return on the other side, and something that Chris said there that I want to expand upon as well. We'll do all of that to close down the first hour of the show. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final observations for you here, Matt, for our Tuesday Rewind as we kind of put a final bow on our thoughts.
We got to move on from this sucker.
We sure do. We sure do. And
not that we won't reference it, folks, obviously.
Of course.
Ignore it.
Of
but
course.
Yeah, we got to move on to the Colts.
My goodness. And that's not a very pretty picture in its own right.
No,
but we will.
No.
We will certainly do.
Tuesday morning. Yeah, right.
You sent me some preliminary Matt stats and some numbers and some findings this morning, and
the biggest portion of Matt stats happens on Tuesday mornings because all the games are in the books, and I can go look at where they rank in time of possession and all the basic stuff. Man, Colts are good. Let's leave it at that.
Looking through some of the stuff you sent me this morning, and I may or may not have out loud uttered "holy bleep."
Yeah,
and not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way. But we will obviously starting tomorrow, and then of course Thursday and Friday deep dive into those 7-1 Indianapolis Colts.
Their offense is a machine.
Goodness, just a juggernaut. Tyler Warren, Jonathan Taylor, Danny Dimes, that offensive line, a lot of weapons at wide receiver.
Wide receiver's a nice group, too. Yeah.
Certainly. And you know what? Speaking of wide receivers, let's stay there. I got two more things that I want to run by you as it relates to the Tuesday rewatch, the Tuesday rewind. For those unfamiliar, it's just a kind of, you get a chance to rewatch the game. We go back and rewind some thoughts here in the first hour on Tuesdays as we try and put a bow on the Steelers' previous game. Let's talk about wide receivers, Matt. Arrow pointing up for Roman Wilson.
Agreed.
I'm excited about that. It's been the linear progression that we've been looking for in both his role and his production.
Yeah.
That's encouraging. I know after a loss like that, you don't, like particularly on a Monday, you're not sitting there harping on the positives. But I'm starting.
But there are some in every game.
There are some in every game, certainly. And I think Roman Wilson, 4 catches, 74 yards, his first touchdown, 18.5 average yards per catch, 5 targets for him as well, too.
Yeah.
We're starting to see the process of clearly they're trusting him to take on a bigger role, and he's grabbing that opportunity and running with it.
Yeah, and this is something from Matt Stats is actually I'm going to look it up here so I get it right because I did tweet this one. And it basically reflects that they're trusting him more and more. So he ran a route on 54% of their drop back last week.
Okay.
And was targeted on about 24% of his routes.
Okay.
But he had not, this is 2 weeks in a row where he's been at 54% of, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to think every drop back, he's on the field running a route for 54 of them.
Sure.
2 weeks in a row, and he had never been at 40% or even 40 every game this year. So I mean, it's back-to-back games. It's enough proof that okay, we gave you 54% the 2 games ago. We'll do it again. You know, we're happy with what you did.
We gave you this much of the pie, and you handled it.
Yeah. I always remember like Pete Carroll talking about Russell Wilson whenever he was a rookie. You know, they had traded for Flynn. He was going to be the starter.
Gave him a nice contract, too, didn't they, from Green Bay?
And Wilson's this third-round dude, and he kept saying, we just keep putting more on Russ's plate, and he keeps handling it. So that's what you do. You know, dollop of mashed potatoes, like, okay, handle the easy stuff, and now we put more, you know. And I think Wilson is getting to that point.
I think so, too, and that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Another, and I wouldn't even call it negative, Matt, with the wide receiver room, though, that I want to discuss. It's not a negative, but it's maybe just a little underwhelmed. Need a little bit more from DK Metcalf.
I know.
I want to preface this. He has not been bad. He has not been a disappointment, anything like that. He's been good. He's just a couple plays away from being great, though.
I 1,000% agree. And I've had this conversation yesterday with several other people, different outlets. I was on Mark's show. I did the show with Rob and Pursuta. And they all kind of brought it up, and it's funny to me, but it's like, because he's really close to being great. You know, like
one play a game. Goes an opposite way.
Exactly. I mean, his force is felt. I'd make that trade 10 out of 10 times.
Agree.
I mean, we're all happy he's a Steeler.
Yep.
But what if you could haul that one in, or don't let Turner rip the ball out of your mitts.
The interception in Cincinnati, and then the broken up pass on Sunday night.
Yeah, and there is a misnomer with him, and I said this when they traded for him, that people thought he was a direct replacement for Pickens. In a lot of ways, he is. I mean, he's big, strong, fast. You know, we know that, and
he's way more consistent than George Pickens.
1,000%. But he's not the catch point guy that George is. He wins differently. He often runs past people. He's not as good and few are. I mean, that's what George does better than anyone in the world.
The one-handed stab, falling backwards,
or even
Sports
just
Center
like
top 10
using
catch.
your big body to shield guys away at the point. Larry Fitzgerald stuff.
Box him out.
You know what I mean? And it's never been his specialty. I'm not saying he's bad at it, but some of these catch point things could have went the other way, and then you'd be like, man, we really got something here, and
100%.
You know, you're in a lot better shape. Yeah.
100%. I've loved the run after catch ability that we've seen from him that's been on display. You saw it in New England. You saw it in Dublin. You saw it against the Browns. That's a huge part of his game, and that's been huge for this offense. But it's just some of those, and that's the. I wouldn't even call
B
them
plus to an A minus.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even call them 50-50 catches. They're more like 60-40 in his favor. You know, just come down with one more of those a game, and it's a completely different story. You're
1,000%
going
agree.
from a B plus to like a valedictorian.
Yeah. And I'm not asking Skoranek to turn into an A plus. We're talking about the B plus to turn into an A minus. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You know, so I 1,000% agree. And again, happy with him, but there were plays to be made that you wish he would have.
Yes.
I guess is one way of putting it. Yeah. And
Good
he's
way
not
to
going to
put
make all of those. You know, no one is.
Last one for you, Matt, for my Tuesday rewind. And there's not much of a way to sugarcoat this one. You and I are not the hot take guys that come on here and call people idiots and call for everybody's job or anything like that. But I don't know how, after what you were able to do on the ground in the first half, I think you probably know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
With a 9-point lead at halftime, where you're getting the ball back out of the locker room.
You get the first possession, too.
And you run the ball 3 times in the second half.
Yeah. Warren's one of your best players, and he's doing great.
That first open, you are up 16-7.
Yeah.
You've been controlling the game. You've been running the ball well. 81 yards rushing in the first half.
Yeah. You're winning time of possession.
Didn't run the ball once on that opening drive.
Yeah.
Of the second half.
I think they
ran the
ran
ball once.
Chris, who's on tomorrow, wrote an article about this, and it was 0 on the first drive, I think 1 rushing attempt on the second drive, and maybe 1 on the third drive. And he pointed those out because.
And then you're chasing the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's different if we got throw, and the game's over.
Sure.
I mean, when the tidal wave hit.
If you're down 9 at halftime, it's a different story.
I totally get it. But the game was very much at hand. The running game was working. Warren's really, really good football player.
You averaged 5.2 yards per carry on the night.
Yeah, yeah. And all of a sudden you get 10 minutes of time possession in the second half because you're not running the football too. I mean,
you set the tone with it right out of the locker room.
Yeah,
there.
I don't understand that.
81 rushing yards in the first half, just 12 in the second half. And again, you had a 2-possession lead getting the football back. That's the real malpractice part to me.
I agree.
Is the scenario of the foot up that you had and what you'd been doing well all night. And again, as you mentioned, Jalen, other than Aaron Rodgers, I think Jalen Warren's the most reliable, you know what you're getting down in and down out part of that offense.
Agreed. And he kind of has been since he's put on a Steeler uniform.
It's very impressive.
I mean, he's never really been, I don't know about that.
He's one of the more
character.
underrated weapons in the National Football League.
1,000%. I mean, again, never was I like, I'm not sure what you're getting from Warren. I mean,
never.
Ever. I mean, he's
McDonald's
out there
number
really
one.
Good. No doubt.
I don't care if you're in Texas or Pennsylvania or California
right.
or Wisconsin.
A Big Mac's
you know
a Big Mac,
You know
right.
what McDonald's number one is.
Yeah. So there's two things. And the coaching staff was far from perfect. The defense was nobody was perfect in that game. We know that. But there's two things that I really can't explain away in any way, shape, or form or understand. That's one of them, especially early in the second half, of course. You know, when you have a lead for a lot of it. I mean, Rob pointed this out. I mean, Steelers were winning after the third quarter.
Yeah. First play of the fourth quarter, they took the lead, but still, you were
errors. But yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still in it deep into the game. You know, you're right there with these guys. And this is 2 weeks in a row. My second one is, this is 2 weeks in a row where Herbig's not seeing the field enough. He's great. I mean,
and I know a lot of people
have
Warren,
said, like, I know exactly what it's a Big Mac. I know what I'm getting every time.
A lot of people have said he was in the doghouse after that personal foul penalty. I don't think it can be that simple. It can't be that cut and dry.
I can't believe that would be enough. I mean, he's got pretty stellar career of being a model citizen, great special teamer, do whatever you want, coach.
Don't get me wrong. In that moment, he's got to keep his composure a little bit better too. But that wasn't egregiously
smart.
Dumb. No. You hit the guy 10 yards out of, like he's sticking up for his teammate who's getting mauled by two Packers at center field.
Right. And he's too good of a pass rusher to say we're not putting you on. We're going to teach you a lesson.
Right.
Come on, man. No way.
Yeah. That
he needs
one
to play a
surprised
lot.
Me. He played what, like 33% of the snaps, 34, 35%. That's not enough.
No,
that
it's
number
just
needs
not.
to be closer to 60%.
And I know that's a hard puzzle to build too.
No doubt. I mean, easier said than done.
It absolutely is. But in the end, he's too good to not play a lot. I don't care how you get there. Not my job.
Right.
My job's to criticize you for not doing your job. You know, right.
I'm the guy who's doing your job, doing his job. Who are you? You must be the other guy. Yeah, so that was kind of the one that I'd saved for last there. And that to me is, again, all these different things. And I was happy too. Mike Tomlin, I meant to say this in the first hour before we go to break. I want to make sure to bring this up. Mike Tomlin opened his press conference talking about we got to get sevens more than threes.
Good.
Against teams, that's the first thing he said.
I still don't know what happened in that press conference. So,
against teams like that, if you're settling for threes too often, it's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah.
That, to me, when we started the show yesterday, that was one of the first things that I brought up. It's easy to say in hindsight, and you were up 9 points at halftime. But the other thing,
my halftime notes were touchdowns would be nice. This could come bite you. You know, right?
As you and I are starting to, when you have red paint, you paint the barn red. When you have green paint, you paint the barn green. It's abundantly clear that this offense needs to score points and needs to do a better job of controlling the clock.
Yeah,
and
they might have to carry the team for a bit.
The first half of that is you need to find the end zone more than the golden toe of Chris Boswell. But the other part of that is you got to run the football, man. And you've been doing it'd be one thing if you've been struggling to do it, but you've been doing it effectively.
It's getting better and better.
It's getting better and better
against really good run defenses.
That's got
like
to
Browns
be the meat. That's got to be your meat and potatoes.
1,000%. And again, don't get away from it. And it's very un-Arthur Smith-like to get away from it.
It's surprising too.
But now Tomlin is never going to tell us his stuff, and I did not go to his press conference, and I haven't yet, as I mentioned 5 times, I don't know what he said. But I think he also needs to look at himself in the mirror in that regard, too, and be like, if we got to turn field goals into touchdowns, you're probably going to have to be more aggressive on fourth downs.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, punting and field goals on fourth downs.
You know what help you get there, though, is picking up 5 yards on first down when you run the ball.
1,000%.
You know what I mean?
1,000%, right. I think you can see the path.
If it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and you go, okay, we get 3-4 yards here. We got 4th and short. We're in great position to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to it's 2nd and 9, it's 3rd and 8.
Yeah.
It becomes much more manageable to get aggressive on 4th down if you're setting yourself up for a more successful opportunity when you do so.
And it's something I mentioned yesterday too. Like, let's say it's 3rd and 1 and you're in field goal range or midfield or whatever. But deep down, you're going for it on 4th if you don't get it.
Take a shot.
Yeah. Rodgers to Metcalf over the top, because I'm coming back and I'm not going to settle for 3 still. I don't have to get my yard here.
Play action, maybe you hit Freiermuth up the seam. Right. I mean, there's a lot of different things there, and I do hope that we start to see some of that Sunday against the Colts.
Because the red zone stuff's gotten a lot better too.
It has.
You're way better. Yeah, they only had 3 snaps in the red zone that game. Only 1 possession.
It's not nearly enough.
No.
Again, particularly against an upper echelon team and an upper echelon offense like the Green Bay Packers.
That's the thing. If you play the Browns, you're like, well, they probably aren't going to get the 35. But you might have to start looking at your defense. Like, most teams are going to get to 35, let alone the Colts.
Especially,
the Colts are the best offense in the league, folks.
Especially some of these talented offenses you got coming up. Colts best offense in the league. Chargers, they got Herbert. They got weapons.
Oh, they're good. Yeah.
Even a team like Chicago can score some points that you're going to have to see soon. Cincinnati, you got to see again in a few weeks. We know that they've got their issues, but they can score points. We saw that. It's certainly something that I'll be keeping an eye on beginning Sunday against Indianapolis. That's an hour in the books. Another hour to go. Fantasy football focus, NFL power rankings, all that and more in hour number 2. Uhler, Williamson, The Drive, Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How you doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson here on The Drive on a Tuesday. And
we're in a little better mood than yesterday when we went to the second segment.
Totally.
Listen, you got to move on, man.
Life is too short to be perpetually angry.
Yeah.
That's something I've certainly learned here in my 34th year of life on this planet. I'm with you. Tomorrow or yesterday.
You don't look a day over 17.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Can I tell you something funny that will absolutely make you laugh? Because, again, most people know this, but peeling back the curtain, Matt and I, we started doing this show regularly together a few months ago and are spending a lot of time together now.
Yeah.
But even over the years, we'd spend a week at the Combine together every year. We'd spend 3 weeks at training camp together every year. A lot of settings where we're working and then we're going out.
Yeah, of course.
Not everyone's going, not like after this show, we both go back home to our families and stuff when we're in Indianapolis.
Go back to the dorm, knock out a podcast, and then
who wants to sit in the dorm all night? Who wants to sit in the hotel room all night? Like, we're going out, we're chatting, we're talking, all that stuff. You know how funny it is because you guys laugh all the time. I get carded everywhere for everything.
Oh, it's hilarious.
My dad loves cigars. I buy my dad cigars a couple times a year, like his birthday, Christmas, stuff like that. I get carded buying cigars typically.
Oh.
Matt, I'm on a streak now of like the last 4 or 5 times I've bought beer or wine or whatever of not getting carded.
You're moving on.
I'm worried I'm losing my fastball here a little bit, boys.
I think becoming a dad does that.
I got a little gray hair coming in on the side.
That's funny to me because I remember people asking me, I've been asked many times, like, when did you start going gray? I'm like, as soon as my second kid showed up.
And my second is 2 years old, and so,
Yeah.
Our buddy Adam Crowley, him and I were down in Morgantown together for a football game a little recently, and he was like, hey, you're not looking as bad as me, but you got some grays coming in on the side. I was like,
kids help with that, yeah.
Kids certainly do help
accelerate that, yeah.
Losing my fastball a little bit.
I think it was last Combine. I sent a picture to the fam.
I tell this story. I remember this story.
I think it's the same one. My son's
Your
like,
son,
who's the little kid with you guys?
You were like, that's somebody 33-year-old.
Yeah, somebody bring their kid with them. Could I come?
Is it bring your son to Combine here as well too? Yeah. Hey, no, it's funny. Listen, we'll see who's laughing when I'm 60. All right.
It's a good thing.
But I think I'm losing my fastball a little bit. I'm on like 4
getting
or 5
carded here now.
4 or 5 straight times of not getting carded. What has happened?
Yeah,
to
your
me?
voice will change soon.
I know what I'm asking for Christmas. I need a razor for Christmas. Yeah, finally starting to get some peach fuzz. Matt, let's get into our weekly fantasy football focus here. Of course, a little waiver wire conversation. And I got to think with that, man, that gruesome injury to Cam Skadeby. Tyrone Tracy's got to be high on people's waiver wire this week.
I mean, he's probably in most leagues. I mean, you got to be a pretty shallow league for him not to be in it.
This is under 60%. Guys that are owned by less than 60% of fantasy football rosters.
Especially in like 10-teamers, things like that.
Yeah.
But you maybe want to consider trading for him too. Like, I think he's going to get a lot of work. If you really want to dig deep, I think Singletary's worth exploring. I thought Singletary could be a trade deadline candidate. Trade deadline's 1 week from today, by the way, folks. But it's not a great offense. I mean, these guys aren't league winners. Tracy's a nice player that's going to be a volume guy for you.
That's the thing. At this point, particularly at the running back position, you're just looking for somebody that you know is going to get spin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like when Vidal took over with the Chargers. Right. Like, you got to pick him up.
Exactly right. Another one, kind of same church, different pew, to use a Mike Pursuta line. Bam Knight from the Cardinals.
Yeah, that one doesn't excite me as much.
Not as much?
I think it's just a little grayer of how they're going to use these dudes. And he did kind of step up this last week. I don't think he's a particularly great player. I don't know if he's on the list, but Dylan Sampson's another hot name this week too, because Scadaboo and Judkins both
Dylan
got
Simpson
hurt.
is on the list, just owned in 14% of fantasy football leagues.
Yeah,
right
I drafted him and dropped him because Judkins just took such a workload. But I would be more interested in Sampson, way more interested. Tracy's an obvious one, but that's not that Bam Knight's that good. But if you're desperate, yeah.
Last one in that conversation, owned in 31% of leagues. What about Tajay Spears of the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah, I think there's a chance Pollard gets traded. I mean, I think any Titan not named Ward or maybe Simmons has a chance to move.
They're probably not going to be part of the solution.
Right. I mean, they're looking for a youth movement. Spears got a lot of work this past week, just came off IR. They like him. I mean, what if Pollard ends up on the Chiefs or something like that? I got no problem with that.
Those are the running back names.
He also
listed.
catches passes, and they're losing a lot. He's not closing out games like Jerome Bettis for the Titans. Right.
Not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
Not a bad place to be. Matt, still only owned by 36% of fantasy leagues. How are we feeling about Sam Darnold for people that need a quarterback?
Fair.
Like,
again,
okay, for example, him and Trevor Lawrence are the highest rated but lowly owned fantasy quarterbacks.
Okay.
Which one of those guys would you prefer at this
Probably
point?
Darnold. Although I do expect a lot out of the Jags coming out of the bye, especially Hunter. Who I know he's in every league, but I see Hunter's role really
He's
spiking.
really started to seem like the game's slowing down for him, and he's getting comfortable.
Featuring him
and,
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I think by the end of the season, we could talk about him as like
You're
one
pretty
of those,
happy to talk
one of
about
those guys that
I
is
own him
in
everywhere.
tier one. Yeah.
I love him. But I prefer Darnold. The problem with Darnold, he doesn't run much at all. Lawrence does some. Quarterbacks is such an easy position to find in one quarterback leagues that these guys are 16th, 17th on your quarterback list. And yeah, you may use them here and there, but you might be better off picking up Spears or somebody like that and just living with one quarterback.
It's not
Just load up on running backs and because they get hurt.
Not a bad strategy. Not a bad strategy at all. Let's see here. A couple more names to run by. How about some wide receivers? Which of this trio would you prefer? Keyshawn Boutte of the Patriots, Troy Franklin of the Broncos, Alec Pierce of the soon-to-travel to this parish Indianapolis Colts.
Interesting. I heard this morning, and I didn't double fact-check it, but I think Rome Odunze was the only wide receiver that had over 100 yards this week. It was a very low passing.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of blowouts. Kraft did. There's some tight ends, but he was the only wide out, I think. There was also 6 teams on bye. Those names are fine. Usually if I'm picking somebody up at a wide receiver spot, it's because I need to, I'm going to start them right away. I wouldn't be excited about starting any of those dudes. I'm not super excited about any of them let's hold them for 3 weeks because they're ready to blow up, So they're okay, I mean, in a deeper league or a flex if you need them, they're fine. They'll have their moments, but none of them are top 36 type guys,
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Let's
not a real super exciting group.
No, not at all. I guess last one I wanted to make sure to ask you about. I feel like I asked you this a couple times over the last couple weeks, but how are we feeling about J.J. McCarthy? Sounding like he could be returning to action for the Vikings.
Yeah, and Wentz is out of the picture now. He's on IR.
He looked bad, man.
He
got destroyed.
He really did. He's kind of appealing, and I don't know if McCarthy's good at all. We have nothing to go off of. The little we've seen in a Viking uniform hasn't been particularly great. I think he's missed 22 out of 24 games or something like that, maybe even 23 out of 25 now. But he runs, and that offense with Jones and Hawkinson and Addison and especially Jefferson is real quarterback friendly. Deeper leagues, he's kind of appealing. You know, I mean, I wouldn't just brush him off like he stinks. I mean, I think it'd be better for fantasy than the real world.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? He runs and he's in a good situation.
That's kind of been the case for the tight ends that have faced the Steelers over the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Kraft, you can understand.
Kraft
he's a
is
stud.
fine. Right.
But everybody else
It's
is
been like Henry and Barner.
Fant.
And, yeah,
Fant's a fine player.
Right. But they're allowing way too much production to the tight end position right now. I mean, really everything in the passing game, they're allowing too much production.
Yeah,
you know?
which is weird, too, because I actually thought that Peyton Wilson played one of it. That was another thing that I had in my Tuesday Rewind notes that I just didn't have time to get to. I thought Peyton Wilson played pretty well.
Watching a second time of the back seven coverage players, I thought he's the one that could hold his head the highest.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, you weren't part of the problem. You know?
Yeah. But that was still interesting as Tucker Kraft ran wild, and that's not obviously just a linebacker thing. But,
no.
Yeah, they
I mean, I think Kraft's going to do it to a lot of teams.
He is.
But that still was unacceptable. You know?
so is Tyler Warren, who you're going to see on Sunday. But you, again, these guys are going to make plays. They're going to get theirs, but you can't let them wreck a game.
Both these two with the ball in their hands, too, are great after the catch and explosive and fast, and they just scheme them up well. And,
Matt, you need to do the Justin Jefferson thing. Justin Jefferson made some plays, but he didn't wreck the game.
That Kraft wrecked the game.
Jamar Chase wrecked the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay if those guys can make plays. As you like to say, Michael Jordan's going to get his points.
Sure.
But he can get 25, not 50.
Yeah, and just always have the ball and dunk it on your head. And right.
Yes, exactly right. There's our fantasy football conversation here on this Tuesday. When we come back on the other side, it's another Tuesday tradition. We got to get to some power rankings. Where are the Steelers? Who's at the bottom of the league? Who's at the top of the league? Where are those Indianapolis Colts? We'll get into all of that when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Penultimate segment here on a Tuesday. That means that, we are a little thoughtfully rhythmic here, Matt, with some of these things. We still do a lot of, we still do.
Do.
Sometimes we're all 12 years old. As Mike Pursuta, man, this is going to be the second time I quoted Pursuta on the show today. I'm giving him too much credit. As our buddy Mike Pursuta would say, you're only young once, but you could be immature forever. We do some freeform jazz here on this show still, too, but we also have a lot of benchmarks that are going to be had at certain points, and one of those is our Tuesday power rankings here. Yeah. And Matt, at the bottom of the list,
it has to be the Titans.
It's the Tennessee. I was going to say no surprise, but I was like, maybe, but it's the Tennessee Titans. I mean, come on.
Maybe by a mile at this point. There's some really bad football teams. Jets just won. Actually, the Raiders are in the conversation, too.
The Raiders are in the conversation.
I mean, they ran 30 plays the last time we saw them,
Browns might be slipping into the conversation.
Browns are falling that way, too. I mean, I know we'll get the Saints here sooner than later, but Saints just made a quarterback change. Shuck's going to be the full-time guy, which I think the Browns could be on the verge of doing a Shador move here soon, too.
Yeah. I think so. You got to see what you got.
Yeah, you got to see what you got.
You got to rep it out.
Same thing with Shuck,
Titans at 32. And finally, out of the basement after their first win of the season, the Jets at 31.
I still think the Jets beat the Raiders.
I don't know. See, we'll get to the Raiders in a second. It's New Orleans 30 and Raiders 29.
Okay.
But let's go there for a second. I am willing to think that the Raiders could minimally, keyword minimally, stabilize a little bit. Post-bye week.
Bye could help.
I'm going to give Pete Carroll some credit.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers will be healthier.
Good point.
I think that offensive line can't be much worse.
It's been horrible.
So, again, I'm not saying that they're going to win 3 of their next 6 or anything like that, but I think they might not be as much of a disaster as they were the first half.
I think it's a really good point. They've been a disaster. That doesn't mean they've
won 2 games, but they've been a disaster.
They've been a really, really bad team. on last viewing is what I'm going with them, which, considering they're coming off their bye, might not be fair. I mean, let's see what the bye did for them.
That's the one
They
grain
had a lot of new pieces in that.
the one grain of salt that I'm willing to give.
Okay. I'll buy that.
I think Pete Carroll knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
You get Brock Bowers healthier. You get something from that offensive line. You stabilize Geno a little bit. I
think Geno and Carroll are better than what they've shown. I mean, we've seen enough.
Yes.
They have at least a body of work to be like, they're better than that.
Absolutely. Saints at 30, Raiders at 29.
Saints are starting to fall apart. And a lot of these teams, I have a feeling we're going to be talking about 1 week from today because, Max Crosby's gone or Chris Olave's gone or,
Absolutely.
Garrett
Wilson's
right,
gone.
But there's a lot of names that could be moving from these teams.
Your boy Tyler Shuck, it looks like he is going to get his first crack at it, the second-round pick out of Louisville.
Which is a little rough on Rattler because he has not been bad.
He is not, but this might also
you also
be
have to look.
Because if you're New Orleans, you're in all likelihood going to have a top 5 pick in the draft. You got to know, are we riding with this guy or are we going back to the quarterback well?
Exactly. You have to know the answer. And unfortunately, the league works this way to some degree, too, is this staff didn't draft Rattler, but they did draft Shuck with an early second-round pick. You got to know. And,
have to.
I mean, I think Rattler's pretty decent, though.
He has been better than expected this year for sure. So, Raiders at 29, Browns at 28. Another team, Matt, that
they got to do it, too.
It might be time to switch up your quarterback because the Browns, they're going to have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
One of them will certainly be a high pick. The other is the Jags. We'll see how that plays out. They continue to look much better. What the ceiling is for Jacksonville, we'll still have to wait and see.
But they certainly have firepower to get to 2 if they're at 6 or, they may end up at 2 anyway.
Exactly right. It doesn't look like it's going to be, I think there was some thought when they made that trade, hey, they could have 2 top 10 picks. Jacksonville's going to be closer to the playoffs certainly than they are to being a disaster.
Yeah.
But Cleveland checking in at 28.
But they have a lot of firepower no matter what. And I know it's early and I don't want to write him off, but Gabriel just and part of this is preconceived from his college stuff and draft prospect is he just screams backup to me.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean he's bad.
There's nothing wrong with that.
If you get a long-term backup with a 3rd-round pick, that's Mason Rudolph. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Mason Rudolph. No,
but maybe Shador's more. I mean, let's just see it at least. I think that decision's coming soon.
And they've got their bye weeks. That'd be the right time.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That'd be the right time to make a move like that, I think. The New York G-Men fall 1 spot to 27 after losing to the Eagles and losing Scattaboo for the season.
Yeah, they've taken a lot of arrows lately.
They have.
It's going to be hard to keep that
Neighbors
that ship
out,
up.
Scattaboo
right.
out.
Yeah.
It's going to be
there's some
tough.
good things going on, but they lost pretty handily to the Eagles, and that's where they belong.
And their schedule is not easy the rest of the way either.
No.
Up 4 spots after a perhaps shockingly, not the fact that they won, but how lopsided it was, win in Atlanta. It's the Miami Dolphins.
Good. I think they're better than all those teams mentioned.
I do too.
I think they're still dangerous on offense. Waddle, Chan, Tua played really well. They have some good players. I think that I think they'll be a seller as well, but
Yeah, they got some pieces on that defense that I would.
No, I think there's a couple guys that are.
If I was one of these teams, high-powered offense, need some help on defense.
Yeah.
Like I know the Buffalo Bills are in their division, and so that's going to be tough. But man, if I was the Bills, they got a lot of pieces on that defense that I'd be interested in.
Yeah,
Cowboys,
maybe even
a lot of
Minka,
pieces
right.
on that defense. I'd be Eagles, Niners.
Couple of their edge guys, right?
Yeah. 25, the Cincinnati Bengals. Man, Matt, a big missed opportunity for them at home. They could have gotten to 4-4, been right on the Steelers' heels with the tiebreaker advantage. Instead, they fall to the Jets to 3-5.
I guess that's fair. Defense is really, really poor. I mean, really poor. They're playing those young linebackers that don't really know what they're doing. I don't know if Flacco was a mirage against the Steelers. I don't believe that. I think the offense will be respectable going forward, though.
Agree. At number 24, this one's surprising to me. I would have them lower. They've lost 5 straight games after starting 2-0. It's the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Like if the Bengals and the Cardinals are playing this weekend, I'd take the Bengals. I'd take the Dolphins over them as well,
too.
I
think Miami, it's amazing that Arizona's gotten to that point because it looked like, like going into the season early in the year, it's like, maybe this
won't be a pushover.
Right. They're in pretty bad shape. That could be a coaching change, too.
I think so. They have the NFL's second toughest rated remaining schedule,
Really?
and 6 of their final 10 games are on the road.
No.
23, the Minnesota Vikings. Looks like J.J. McCarthy is going to be back. I'm still surprised. I'm surprised by Minnesota. I am. I didn't think that they'd be the team that won 14 games like they did last year, but I also didn't think they'd be struggling like this.
I don't think they're getting enough heat for biggest fall from a year ago. And some of it's the defense, too. Like, they're not one of the best defenses in the league.
No.
I understand the quarterback issues, and they're substantial, but...
Yeah, if we're the most positively surprised by Indianapolis this year, I think Minnesota might be the most negatively.
Yeah,
or
the Ravens are their own beast.
Yeah, and they've just dealt with so many injuries,
Right.
but that's a fair point. Baltimore would have to be in that conversation as well, too. Down 2 spots after getting beat by the Broncos, 22. It's the Dallas Cowboys, 3-4-1. Not out of it, but
not
teetering.
Out of it. Yeah, I felt a lot better about them a week ago. Defense is really banged up. I wonder if they'll consider adding a piece. I mean, usually teams this low on the list aren't buyers, but they're an interesting
that's not
one.
the Cowboys style.
Yeah, it's not the Cowboys style. They got an extra pick from Parsons, and they got some firepower.
21, the Carolina Panthers. They fall to 4-4 after getting blown at home by
I might
Buffalo.
have them lower.
Same.
I think they were a bit of a mirage.
I give them some credit for being at 4-3 at one point and not,
I didn't see that coming.
being a disaster.
Yeah.
If you would have said to me at the beginning of the season between the Saints and the Panthers, one of those teams would be 1-7 and one would be 4-4, I would have guessed Carolina was the 1-7 team. So credit to them, but I think this might be the start of a rough back half of the season.
Yeah, Dalton was really rough, and they've been kind of all over the place all year.
They have. And hey, they're 4-4, but it doesn't feel like 4-4.
No, they don't seem threatening.
Like if you would have told us before the season Carolina's going to be 4-4 after 8 weeks, we'd be like, all right, they're doing some good things.
That's kind of what I was going to say too. It's like, okay, I mean, if those results are better than expected, but I don't think they make any noise.
It doesn't feel that way. Number 20, down a couple spots after getting walloped by Miami. It's the Atlanta Falcons.
I'm getting bad mojo from
No
them
Penix,
too.
no Drake London, which is important to note, but they still just looked helpless against Miami. Kirk Cousins going to move in the next week?
We did a podcast earlier, and we had Minnesota grabbing them with Wentz going on.
Would make a ton of sense.
He could acclimate right away.
Ton of sense.
I think he doesn't have to get out of the building. He's not a bad guy or a problem.
In fact, they might like having him around Penix.
Yeah. London being out really hurt them. Their defense was showing a lot of signs of life, and now it's not at all.
That's a good way to put it as well, certainly. Up a few spots after getting off the mat and getting back into the win column. Number 19, the Baltimore Ravens. Is the season saved for now, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge win for them. It looks like things get easier. I guess that's about where I'd have them. They're a tough team to rank for power ranks because, I mean, I guess you have to rank them as if Lamar's the quarterback because he's going to play Thursday, it sounds like.
I was going to say they're now the next AFC North team to have to go on the road on Thursday night.
Oh, and that is an AFC North thing. AFC North is bad on the road on Thursday
I tell you what,
the
Ravens fall to 2-6 and lose to the Dolphins. That'd be another AFC loss. Then they have to go to Minnesota. I mean, they do have Cleveland and the Jets coming up on the schedule, but man, they still have to play the Packers. They still have to play the Patriots. They still have 2 against the Steelers, 2 against the Bengals.
Yeah.
It's tough for Baltimore. I
think they can only lose 2 games too.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, so they're 2-5 now. If they lost 2, that would so 10-7 is still a possibility.
That's a chance. The more I think through the AFC, though, I don't think 2 teams come out of the North.
No.
So they have to win the division, which means they can't lose the Steelers probably.
There is a chance, certainly, that we could get to that last week of this January, 4th or 5th or whatever it would be, because the final week is all TBD, right? You can play on Saturday, you can play on Sunday. How the way the NFL does, everybody is flex scheduling now, the final week of the season. There's a chance that could be a tiebreaker type Steelers, Ravens.
Oh,
winner,
it could. Yeah.
Winner wins the North. Loser, Willy Wonka and the Charlotte Factory. You get nothing. You lose. Gene Wilder. That's the name I was looking for, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have been guilty of being like the Ravens have gotten the tough part of their schedule out of the way, but
it's not as easy as
you got to go on the road for Thursday night.
Right,
you got to go to Minnesota. You still have to go to Lambeau.
Oh yeah, I knew there was one that they're definitely a dog. And
you
that's
got
Lambeau.
You got the Patriots coming to town in December.
Yeah, that's a lot better now than they're a lot worse now than I thought. Yeah,
it's tough. I tell you what though.
I think they can only lose 2 at most.
They got to start by taking care of business on the road on a Thursday night. That's where right now for nothing else matters for Baltimore.
It sure would have been nice if the Bears would have got that win.
Oh boy, would it have? Maybe Minkah Fitzpatrick in Miami can help us out on Thursday night. Down a couple spots, and Matt, you called it with this team. It's the Washington Commanders now 3-5 after falling to the Chief last night.
They looked very average against a good team. Chiefs dominated time possession. I understand Daniels wasn't there, but they did get McLaurin back, and I may even have them a little lower.
17 ahead of them. Matt, this to me is a team that should still be feeling good about itself, but it was a tough one in Baltimore against the Lamarless Ravens.
Yeah.
It's 4-3 Chicago Bears.
But I do think the train's on the track.
This is one of those, you and I have talked about this. It's something Moats used to talk about all the time. In this league, progression is not linear.
No.
You talk about the 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 5 steps forward, 2 step back. I think for them, the arrow is still pointing upward.
Yeah,
but
they were on a nice winning streak as of 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Yeah.
Step back this past week. But, hey, they're still 4-3. They still got plenty to play for.
Yeah. Defense is less than impressive and has some injuries, but the most important pieces are doing what you want. Adunze and Williams and the running game. And
Here come the Texans, Matt, up 5 spots to be ranked 16.
I think I'd have them even higher.
I might as well, too. They comfortably.
Their defense is great.
Their defense might be the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
And when C.J. Stroud is playing like he is, that's a tough opponent. They are a team that has certainly navigated the toughest portion of their schedule.
Yeah, they may have worked some things out. They're
3-4, so they haven't left themselves a ton of room for error.
They don't have a lot of room for error. I don't know if they can catch the cold.
I was going to say the division title might be out of the realm of possibility, but they're going to be in this conversation down the stretch for sure.
They finally helped their O-line out by putting a 6th guy out there a bunch. That was without Nico, who's still a superstar. So they're not in a good spot, but they're playing well.
Sticking at 15 after their bye week, and a good time for them to have the bye week after 2 straight losses. It's the 4-3 Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't have a problem ranking them there, but I would, if I had to bet of which of those 2 AFC South teams went to the playoffs, I would bet on the Texans.
Ooh, I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't think either one catches the
Jacksonville
Colts.
has the advantage right now. I don't think either catches the Colts, but I trust more in C.J. Stroud and that Houston defense, and just a team that's been to the postseason each of the last 2 years
good point.
in Houston.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that.
Down just 1 spot to 14, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I thought they'd be lower.
Still have them above the Jags? I think I would.
As I say, the teams we just mentioned, though, like
Houston.
Maybe I'd have them over
Houston. I have them ahead of the Bears, have them ahead of the Commanders.
Yeah. This neighborhood's right.
An interesting one, though, the Niners are at 13 ahead of the Steelers.
They had a rough go of things, but they have a lot of 5 wins, right?
They do. They're 5-3. I think they got their bye week either this week or next week, and it's a good time for them to have it because they're banged up. They need it bad. But
their defense is starting to.
They're another
really
one of those
crumble,
to me that feels like they were punching above their weight class for the start of the season, and maybe they're coming back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, Houston beat them pretty handily.
Yes, they did. Up to number 12, up 5 spots, and shaking off some of that rust that hit them in late September, early October. It's the Steelers' next opponent after the Colts, the LA Chargers.
I'm fine with it. I think I would have them over everyone we've spoken about. I would have them ahead of the Steelers.
Man, Joe Alt being back
it goes a long way.
World.
Exactly what I was going to say.
That guy's all world, man.
Yeah, he really is. They navigated probably their toughest stretch without the 2 tackles and some injuries. Hampton will be back at some point too at running back, and I think the offense is pretty good.
I have this conversation with my friends all the time, Matt. Like sitting in a buddy's basement watching the games, or sitting at a pub with my boys or something. I never want the Steelers to be bad. You know, for what you and I do for a living.
Yeah.
Like, my greatest nightmare is a Steelers team that picks in the top 5.
Right.
And I know a lot of the fan base wants that. Reset button, get a high pick.
Because they've
all
never
that.
dealt with it. That's
They've
why
never
they want
dealt with it.
Right.
And they also wouldn't have to come in here and talk about it try and polish a turd every single day like you and I would have to. But when I watch Joe Alt play, I'm reminded, do you remember a few years ago, it was the COVID season when the Steelers started 11-0 and then lost that weird like Tuesday afternoon game to the Washington, whatever the heck they were at the time, the football team.
Yeah.
And that was Chase Young's rookie year, and he played really well in that game.
And Tomlin told him,
and
we're never
remember
bad
that
enough.
NFL Films clip of Mike Tomlin being like, I hope I'm never bad enough to draft a player like you, but I would love to have a player like you. That's how I feel when I watch Joe Alt play.
No, I
hope you're never bad enough. I don't want the Steelers to be bad enough to draft a player like you, but man, I would love to have a player like you.
Yeah, he's not a hard evaluation. I mean, like that guy goes to the top 5 of every draft he comes
draft
to have.
ever.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's going to play for as long as he's healthy and be really good. Yeah.
Number 11, staying there after a 5th straight win. Watch out. Here comes Drake May. Here come the New England Patriots, and I want to throw up all over myself. This fan base did not deserve to get another great quarterback that fast.
And he's getting MVP buzz, which I don't think is crazy. I think the Chargers are better than they are, though.
Ooh, interesting.
Patriots are playing really well.
They are. And
they're definitely way ahead of the schedule.
This might be the best they play all year. You know, we might look back at Thanksgiving and they drop a game or two that you didn't expect, and
which is still a highly successful season.
No doubt.
Right.
I think they are going to make the playoffs.
I do too, because they got a lot of wins ahead of them.
They got a lot of wins ahead of them, and they've got some nice tiebreakers as well too. Although not against the Steelers, which could end up being a factor down the stretch.
Yeah, it could.
But I think this is about right for New England. But if you had to make me guess, they're 11 now. Do they get closer to the top 5, or do they fall down to the 15-ish range? I would say fall down to the 15-ish range.
I think they'll continue to climb because their upcoming schedule is pretty very, very favorable.
It's
but,
to say the least.
And I'm not giving this author a hard time or this writer, but of course, if they keep winning, of course they're going to go up. But I don't know that they'll ever be that they'll warrant their spot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure that their play is as good as their record and as their resume.
They got the Falcons at home this week. They'll be favored.
They're favoring that one.
Okay, then they have to go to Tampa Bay. That's tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
They get the Jets at home. Favored.
Win, right.
Cincinnati on the road. Favored.
Yeah.
Giants at home.
Favored, right.
Then they have a week 14 bye week. That might line up very nicely for them.
Yeah.
Bills at home, at Baltimore, at Jets, Dolphins at home.
You get the Jets twice. You got Miami still once.
They're going to be dogs in two games the rest of the year. They'll be underdogs. At Tampa and against Buffalo, maybe.
Maybe the Ravens.
Maybe at Baltimore.
Ravens
maybe at Baltimore. And
by
that point, that's the week before Christmas. Baltimore could be humming and
looking like the Ravens.
Could be, and we win our last 3 games. We'll be in the playoffs type thing for Baltimore. But Patriots at number 11.
But they're going to win double-digit games probably.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
it'd be almost disappointing not to.
Shocking at this point if they don't.
Starting to look like the contending team that we thought that they would be this year. The Denver Broncos check in at number 10. They are also 6-2.
Knicks is looking a lot better, a lot more comfortable. They've put up a ton of points in the last 2 games, but they did just lose Surtain for like 5 or 6 weeks.
That hurts.
Like that, yeah.
That hurts.
Defensive player of the year,
Absolutely. R.J. Harvey looking a little bit more like the part out of the backfield there.
Yeah, big plays.
Number 9, the 5-2 Buffalo Bills. Remember, Matt, they hadn't won a game for like a month. 2 straight losses and then their bye week. Well, they went down to Carolina and exercised some demons and beat up on a Panthers team and looked more like the Bills that we expect.
I don't love their pass catchers or their defense, but they could win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. No doubt.
They showed the world.
No doubt. Larry Ogunjobi playing a nice role for them on Sunday as well, too, I tell you. Formerly of this parish. Sticking at number 8, not world-beating performance, but professional, buttoned up, tidy, what they were supposed to do, went down to New Orleans and took care of business. The 6-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, they're weathering some storms right now, and Mayfield's come back to earth a little the last 2 weeks. Like, no one's talking about him as MVP stuff anymore. He's having a good year, don't get me wrong. He's still a real good player, but not elite. Their defense was a big reason they won that game, but good.
Number 7, the Los Angeles Rams. Sounds like they're getting Puka back,
Puka should be back after the
which
bye,
would be huge.
Defense is hard to play against.
I was going to say that defense is one of the better units in the league.
Yeah, I got no qualms with that.
Like you and I have said, as long as Stafford is healthy, they are a legit contender.
Yeah, they are.
Number 6 is the Seattle Seahawks, Matt. 5-2, Seattle.
I mean, I can speculate who's ahead of them, but that's the lowest I'd have them. I think the Seahawks are legit.
I do too. I think that's about right, though. I think
it's not crazy.
Seattle, LA, Tampa, that 6, 7, 8 range, you could kind of shake them up in a jar and roll them out in any order, and I don't know if I'd be greatly upset.
I think that's fair.
I think I might give the Rams the edge just because what they have at quarterback.
I think
and
Tampa
head
would
coach.
be third for me, but not by leaps and bounds. They're all similar.
But Seattle checking in at number 6. Number 5, moving up a little bit after a couple looking more like themselves performances, it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
They're another team like the Bills that put some doubts to rest recently.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Matt, number 4.
O-line's healthier, too.
Number 4, highest ranking they've been since they fell to the Browns. It's the 5-1-1 Green Bay Packers.
Ooh. So, Dale and I used to do this a lot on Power Ranking Day. I mean, so the Steelers have lost to number 4, number 7 or 6, and the Bengals were like 22 or something.
Yes. So 4
on a short week in their place.
And 22.
Yeah. I mean, no losses are great. They didn't look good in the game, but you're not going to go 17-0, guys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Now, I guess the other side of that is a lot of the teams that you've beaten besides the Patriots would be down on this list, too.
A good point. I'm fine with that, too.
But, hey, you've got some opportunity to change that. You're going to see the Colts, who are, spoiler alert, number 2 on this list.
Still have not
you're going to see
named,
Buffalo, who's in the top 10. You're going to see the Chargers here soon, who are 12th. So
Chargers are right in the corner, right?
Some opportunity, certainly. But, yeah, the Packers check in at number 4.
Yeah, and I'll be not thrilled if all these top 10 type teams beat the Steelers handily. You know, like we saw that sort of last year at the end. Like, you don't want to be that team. But it'll be telling. It'll definitely be telling.
Matt, don't look now. We've been saying this for the last couple weeks. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Is that too low?
I don't know.
I mean, the Colts and Lions are ahead of them in some order.
The Colts and Lions are the 2 teams ahead of them. I don't know. I mean, you could argue with me that the Packers and the Eagles and
no one's
Seattle,
playing better than the Lions or the Colts. I don't know that I could put them ahead of those 2.
But listen, the Chiefs get benefit of the doubt here, but I would also say they deserve it. They've earned it. Benefit of the doubt. I might have them a spot or 2 lower, but I'm okay with it. I'm not kicking and screaming about it.
No, I'd have them over the Packers.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I think 3's right.
2 Colts, 1 Lions.
No one's having a better year than the Colts. Whether everyone buys into Daniel Jones or if this is real, that's up to you. I've bought in, especially into the offense. I mean, I think the offense is elite.
Jonathan Taylor is just a monster.
A monster. I don't know what to add to the Lions. The Lions have been really good for a couple of years, and they're as good as they've ever been.
And to get to your point of your exercise, they're 5-2. Their losses are against the number 3 Kansas City Chiefs and the number 4 Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Both on the road.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
one was week 1, I think.
Let's do this. Maybe we should start doing this the rest of the way real quick as we wrap this up. The playoffs started today. Who you picking out of the NFC? Who you picking out of the AFC? Lions, Chiefs? Lions, Colts? Packers, Colts? Packers, Chiefs?
Chiefs. I mean, to go to the Super Bowl you're talking about?
Yes.
I mean, I think the Colts will end up with home field advantage. I'm just not sure that they're ready to win playoff games against Buffalo and Baltimore and the Chiefs.
Sure.
The teams that go every year. I take Green Bay. NFC's harder for me.
It's hard.
Far. I could make a case for 5.
I think right now I would not comfortably, but maybe confidently say Chiefs. NFC's you're right. I mean,
yeah.
Detroit, Green Bay, Philly, Seattle, the Rams.
I don't think I'd take the Eagles. I think I would take Green Bay or Detroit. I'm leaning towards the Packers.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think, and that's who we both picked to win the NFC when the season started, to be fair.
It is. I had them playing the Ravens.
You picked Packers-Ravens for the Super Bowl.
I did.
I picked Packers-Bills for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Before the season started. I think I would go Packers-Chiefs right now, but the Lions are tough to deny.
Yeah, Lions are real strong.
One more segment to go, Matt. We'll wrap this thing up on the other side when we return, close down this Tuesday edition of The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment here on a Tuesday. It's been a fun show. This is kind of our last day before we turn the page type show. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow we will start to talk more about those Colts and everything involving Pittsburgh and Indianapolis on Sunday. We'll also, I'm getting excited every single week for our Around Campus segment, Matt, as there's a ton to talk about these quarterbacks.
Yeah, there is.
We'll have Best of the
tomorrow,
West.
Right?
Best of the West tomorrow.
We're going to do the quarterback stuff tomorrow?
Around Campus tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
So I was thinking to kind of tie in. I was thinking for Best of the West, I could power rank the available college football jobs for you.
All right.
I might put that on hold for a week, though, because I feel like we have to do something for Halloween tomorrow for the Best of the West as well, too. We'll think on that one over the next 24 hours. But, Matt, I want to throw you a little curveball here. Maybe this is something I could have done for Best of the West. I'm going to throw you a little curveball here. Travis Kelce last night tied Priest Holmes for most touchdowns in the Chiefs organization.
Chiefs history, yeah.
We've only got like 3 minutes till we got a break here, so I figured this would be a good way to get us out of here. The minute that he retires, which will probably be after this season.
I was shocked he came back, but I think it's the right move.
Maybe one last run at it. Doesn't want his last game to be a lopsided Super Bowl loss. Rank for me your best tight. You can give me top 3, top 5, whatever you want to do. Best tight ends in NFL history as we stand here today, Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. I know I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but you're great with this kind of stuff.
It's not the first time I've thought about it.
No, you've never thought about this before.
Gronk is a distant one.
Thank you. That's my answer as well, too. Love that. But then after that,
I think you can have conversations. I'd probably go Kelce.
Ahead of Gonzalez.
Yeah, it basically comes down to Gonzalez and Kelce. I think I prefer Kelce. There's maybe some recency bias there, but he's so crafty, and I think he's 2 for me. A guy that is higher for me than most is Kittle. I mean, people don't talk about him in this light, but I think I'm taking Kittle over Witten or Gates.
Shannon Sharp.
Just because
Gates is another good one.
Yeah, I mean, just because, and the big reason why Gronk was number 1 is just his physicality and his blocking.
I was gonna say that was gonna be my final question. I know the answer, but tell me why Gronk is 1. It's because he can do in the passing game what all these guys did, but was a savant in the run game.
And he's 270. I'm always gonna side for the guy that's massive and just doesn't look like the others. And a crazy thing about Gronk, because people don't think of him in this light. If you go look at his average yards per reception, it's higher than all these guys. Mm-hmm. And he's 30 pounds heavier, and he's a better blocker.
Would take on other teams' best edge rushers.
Yeah, I remember being asked when they were rolling, who's the best non-quarterback in the league? I'm like, it's Gronk. I mean, on offense, there was Aaron Donald or J.J. Watt. There's other all-time grades.
So I don't know if you've seen.
I think he's actually underrated.
I think he's become underrated because of how much credit Brady gets, how much credit Belichick got, how much Travis Kelce has been at the forefront. Rightfully so. I'm not saying any of those things are wrong.
He's awesome, right?
Last thing here, have you seen, I think you would really like this. Have you seen, so the Pat McAfee show, they've got some podcasts that are related to their shows as well, too. Mm-hmm. So they've got a hockey podcast that's part of the show umbrella. They've got a sports gambling podcast. Okay. So it's not live like the McAfee show, but it's part of that family, part of that umbrella podcast that they do as well too, on hockey, on gambling, on all those different things.
Bunch of subjects.
They just started one. It's really cool. And I think I've told you this before. I normally hate Mount Rushmore talk because I think it's the laziest, low-hanging radio fodder that you can have. I say that as a guy who wants to talk about Halloween candy at some point this week, which is build for me your ultimate Thanksgiving plate. That's all uncreative fodder, low-hanging fruit. But they started a podcast called Mount Rushmore. But what they do is they get experts from the field on a specific topic. So they did one that was Mount Rushmore of most influential bands of all time. And they brought in Rick Rubin and the guy who started Apple Music and the guy who started Interscope Records. They did greatest choke jobs, Mount Rushmore of greatest choke jobs in sports history. And they brought in Bob Costas and, a bunch of people that have been
guys have been around. Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool because it's not just typical people doing Mount Rushmore talk. It's we're going to get experts in the field to debate this.
If this was tight end, we'd go get.
They did a Mount Rushmore of best receivers in NFL history, and they had Tom Brady and Peyton Manning do it. And Brady,
Oh, wow.
Brady had Gronk on his. He's like, I know technically he's not a receiver, but he
no one guards him.
And I thought that was obviously that's his teammate, that's his guy. Brady's bias.
Right. Like wouldn't Shabby if Manning brought up Harrison or
Harrison was on Manning's. Jerry Rice was on both of theirs.
Makes sense.
Moss was on both of theirs. I think one of them had T.O., one of them had Fitz, one of them had Calvin Johnson.
Okay. No shocking names.
No,
there.
no.
If you're going to pick 4.
But Brady,
the fact that
Brady had Gronk on his, and he made a really good case for it as well, too. Like, you would have – I meant to send that to you. I was like, Matt would enjoy this conversation between these two quarterback geeks talking about their
I could have one.
Rushmore of receivers.
Gronk.
Yeah.
And there's some great ones, and a lot of them are more recent,
I think so, too. I'm with you on that. Matt, that'll do it for today. Good stuff. Good show.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun. Tomorrow will be a lot of fun as well, too, as we'll start talking some Colts. We'll do some around the NFL. We'll do around campus and best of the West, all that good stuff on a Wednesday. Big thanks to Chris Adamsky for joining us, and a shout-out to our video producer, Mr. TV, Tyler V. himself, for making us look handsome on the YouTubes. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the Black and Gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.